My name is David Callahan. I was born near Southampton in Hampshire, and I've been an Ahmadi since I married 13 years ago. I was born into the Church of England. I was baptised, but through most of my life I wasn't very religious. I had periods when I was, but most of my life I wasn't very spiritual or religious. But since I became an Ahmadi, I like to think that I am spiritual. When I considered becoming an Ahmadi, this was maybe 15 years ago, it was a difficult time in the sense that Muslims and Islam was getting a very bad name. There was the death sentence on Salman Rushdie, and there was also the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran. So it wasn't the most attractive proposition for someone from the West thinking, do I want to become a Muslim? But my wife spoke to me in great detail and in great depth about it, explained to me what it was, first of all to become a Muslim, and then also, secondly, to become an Ahmadi. And I listened very closely to what she said to me, and she said it with such conviction. I realized it was the truth, and I decided that that's the way I wanted to lead my life. I decided that I wanted to marry her, and luckily she felt the same way. So we got married, and I've been an Ahmadi since then, which was 13 years ago. At first there was a great deal of shock with my friends and family when I told them I was going to become a Muslim. I mean, to say that I was going to become an Ahmadi Muslim didn't mean very much to them because they didn't know anything about Ahmadiyya. But they knew what it was, or they had a good idea what it was to become a Muslim and the kind of things that might be involved. And they were also under the impression, as I was at that, before I saw the truth, that Islam was a dangerous thing in many ways because of all the things that were happening around the world which seemed to be linked to Islam, and the violence and the trouble always seemed to be in some way associated with Islam. So they had great misgivings at first, but they quickly came round, and once I talked to them about it, my family decided that if it was right for me, then that they were fine with it. I would say the main thing that attracted me to Islam was the purity of it and the simple truth. There aren't any frills, there isn't any extravagance. It's a simple, basic, pure religion which anyone can understand immediately. It doesn't take great explanation to understand what the simple truth is, and to me that's the greatest attraction of it. In so many ways that I haven't really got the time to tell you now in such a short space, such a short period. But in many ways, my whole life has changed. My whole life has been transformed to the extent where I think I'm a completely different person to the one that I was before I became a Muslim. And I feel I have a greater understanding of the world. I feel I have a meaning to my life, and I feel that I have some direction as well. And all of those things are wonderful to have. In what do I find happiness? In many different ways. If we're talking about religion, then the happiness comes from prayer. It comes from seeing the evidence every day that there is a God. And if you want to see it, it's there, right in front of your eyes. And people who say there isn't any proof, there isn't any evidence, they're not seeing it. It is there, right in front of them. So that brings me happiness, to see that around me, and to see also sometimes the power of prayer, and that if you pray hard enough, sometimes the things that you pray for do happen. Other things that make me happy, I guess, are that I'm an elected councillor now. So I have a new meaning in my... It's flashing, by the way.
Yeah, you're right. It means there's just a little bit of tape left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll carry on. I'm elected councillor now, So I have a new direction in my professional life, which is also exciting me greatly at the moment and really motivating me and giving me great inspiration to try and achieve some things in that sphere of my life. I think I can be sure that God exists because every time I open my eyes and look around, the evidence is there before me. The wonderful things that man has achieved and created, the fact that we can fly hundreds of people in the air in an aeroplane is a wondrous thing, something I don't even understand. Electricity is something else I don't understand. How does that work? And yet man has been able to harness the power of electricity and use it to as a marvelous tool to enable him to expand his life. But wildlife, the beauty of the sea and the landscape of any country you go to has its beautiful areas, and I think all of those things prove to you, if you want them to be proved to you, that there is a God. If you don't want to, and you don't want to accept it, and you want to just shut yourself off and keep your eyes closed, then it won't prove anything to you, obviously. How have I benefited? I think I've benefited because I feel as if there's a wholeness to my life. That before I felt maybe there was a missing part, and at the time I didn't realise how big that part was that was missing. It's only when you actually fill that gap through your religion and through your faith in God that you realise how big that is in terms of the wholeness of your life and how much of your life is made up of that element. And so having that gap filled, it's not really a gap, it's actually something bigger, it's a chasm. To have that filled is something that's marvellous to experience.